In addition to which, one final little bit of rebuttal. Oh, maybe not. Okay. For all of these reasons, we are so very proud to oppose this motion. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, before calling upon the final two speakers on each side, I would remind you that when those two speakers have spoken, you will have the opportunity to take the floor and ask questions or make a speech for, against, or on the motion. Ladies and gentlemen, the final speaker from the government side of Princeton University, Mr. Aaron Hauptman.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks to both sides for what has been a really excellent debate. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for introducing us so eloquently. Thank you to the jury for taking time out of your extremely busy day to support the activity of debate and watch us talk about this. And thank you to the Honorable Bellboy for keeping everybody to time. So good evening, guys. There are two distinct ways in which I think that our side has won this round. The first is that we've shown you that by doing a simple cost-benefit analysis, it is not in Germany's best interest to bail out Europe anymore. However, the second way, which I'm going to get to a bit more later, is that in the long run, Europe is better off on our side of the house anyway. So there are three questions I'm going to ask you. The first is, what are the benefits and harms of the Eurozone and the EU to Germany? So I think that we've done a really good job of showing you that the benefits are minimal at best. Germany doesn't need Europe. Germany needs Europe like a tired, hard-working mother needs a crying baby. Economically, Charlotte talked to you about optimal currency zones. She told you that there are 4 requirements that a zone must meet in order for it to make sense for them to share a currency zone. And she told you that Europe meets exactly 0 of these requirements. So what is the problem with this? This leads to severe economic harms. It's impossible to have proper monetary policy when Germany needs tight monetary policy so their economy can grow, but not at this time. But Greece needs loose monetary policy so that they can inflate away some of their debt and recover from the recession. The second economic harm of this is that there's an extreme risk of contagion, which I think that you guys have all just experienced over the past couple of years. When one economy crashes, you guys all crash. This is a major problem. And the key to this is that these are harmful both during times of crisis and during normal times, not at this time. So the only thing that OP really talked about in terms of economic benefits is exports. But I think that OP has a really Eurocentric view, and they're not really looking at the rest of the world, something which I, as an American, am accused of a lot. But what we have to keep in mind is that there are significant growing markets in Asia and South America. And Germany, particularly, is exporting more and more to these markets and less to European markets. So Germany's export economy is not dependent on Europe because these external growing markets exist. But you disagree.
Does Germany have greater bargaining power when talking to, say, the US or the developing world like China and India, joined in a currency union with 26 other nations? Or does it have less bargaining power if it has less clout?
I think it has exactly the same amount of bargaining power. I don't think it matters. I don't think that Germany needs Europe. I think that Germany is powerful enough on their own. Because as we learned in the debate yesterday, Germany is incredibly efficient and has a very large economy. I think this is what the world cares about a lot more. Furthermore, they talk about trade. And they talk about how Germany has a lot of trade. However, if you're financing your trading partner, you're not really trading with them. You're just trading with yourself by sending them money and then having them send it back to you. This isn't really trade. So then we talked about politics. Connor talked about why Germany loses absolutely nothing by talking about the euro. He talked about realism. Germany isn't influential because of the EU. Germany is influential because of its powerful economy and because of its strong democracy. Furthermore, he told you about internal politics and how Germany is much better off if it's actually listening to its people and listening to what its people want. 3 out of 5 Germans don't support the bailout. And as Op said, Germans are very smart and very efficient. If they don't like it, we should probably listen to them. Not at this time. So the only thing that they talked about was how European war is now a laughable thought. But our response to this is that that's not because of the EU. That's because of democratization and because of growing economies. Just as the idea of war between France and Germany is now laughable, the idea of war between the US and Japan is just as laughable. The US and Japan are not in some grand union. It's because of democratization. It's non-unique. So the second question, what are the costs of saving Europe and how high are they? Okay, so this has been really downplayed. The bailouts have tons of costs associated with them. It is 27% of Germany's GDP. And they're going to try to downplay this, but I think this is extremely significant. And I'll try to make a French analogy. If I give you a bottle of champagne and then take away 27% of it, I think you're significantly worse off. I think this is a really big difference.
On that.
Not at this time. So what does Germany get from this? What does Germany get from going under all these costs? And the answer is nothing. The bailouts aren't working. The recession is getting worse. Austerity measures are not being put in place. They've told you that we know it works because Europe hasn't collapsed, but I think that Europe is a little bit stronger than that. I think that Europe would be just fine without these, countries aren't going to collapse without these bailouts. So please tell me, if this is working, show me this. Show me a recovering economy and show me a government that is imposing more responsible budgetary reasons. If you can do that, if you can show me that these bailouts are working and making a real difference, then fine. I don't think you'll be able to because I don't think it's actually happening. However, there is a second way that we can win this debate, and this is where they haven't really responded that much. Even if you believe that the costs don't outweigh the benefits to Germany, we have shown you that you get a better Europe, in the long run. And this is the second way that we can win. So Brian mentioned the idea of creative destruction. It's necessary to flush out insolvent policies out of the system. And this is never going to happen if Germany continues to prop up insolvent regimes in countries like Greece where they pay you extra money for showing up to work on time. Maybe it's my American attitude, but I think that that should be something that's expected of you, not something that you get paid extra for. Furthermore, and I thought we hated taxes in America, it seems that in Greece they hate them even more. And the lovely chancellor from Cambridge mentioned the idea of the country of Argentina. But what he fails to realize is that Argentina went through this crisis, this monetary crisis, and has emerged as one of the biggest economies in South America. What this shows is that it is possible to recover from these things. Argentina is a great example for our side. Yes, Germany loves Europe. But if you're a parent and you love your child, you don't continue to finance their bad habits. You teach them how to survive in the world. We're proud to propose the motion.